Welcome back, everybody, to Niko's Comic Book Hauls and Reviews. This is a show that I normally do monthly here on the Late Night Chat Network, where I show off my comic book hauls for that particular month. The last couple of months, I've been very busy as things are starting to open up here again in Toronto, and kind of life has been kind of getting back to some sort of normalcy here post the pandemic here in Toronto, and it being the summer and being able to see a lot of people for the first time in a long time. I've kind of been slacking a little bit, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty late in getting this video out for you. So if you have been waiting on this, I will be going back on a monthly schedule following each month when the haul is due. That video will come out during that month. So I apologize for the lateness of this one. Because of this and the reason that the July's haul wasn't as big as like the June, I've actually combined these two hauls together. So the books that you'll be seeing today that I'll be giving you a brief kind of review on and letting you know my thoughts and showing off the books will actually be for June and July of 2021. And then expect the August haul probably about a week after this gets posted. So we'll get right back on schedule here for you guys. If this is your first time coming across this video, please subscribe and like this video. Let me know what you think in the comments and the notification bell if you want to be notified of when these do come out, as well as all the other great videos that we do here on the Late Night Chat Network, including our weekly Late Night Chat live show that we normally do on Sundays live. Follow us on Instagram for all those details and all the shows that we end up dropping every week. So yeah, without further ado, though, let's get into the books. This is a little bit of more of a different setup than as usual that we do here for these comic book haul and review videos. I figured I'd try something different out. So if this is successful, this will be kind of the format moving forward. On our host StreamYard that we do a lot of our live videos and stuff here for. I'm going to try to do maybe the comic book hauls and reviews this way with this kind of similar setup that we normally do. As to like when we do our live videos. So I'm going to try out something different. Maybe hopefully the views work a little better for you guys here as I show off the books and I get into reviewing them. And let me know your thoughts in the comments if you've seen the older format of how I record these videos compared to this newer one. Let me know which one you guys prefer. So we'll see how this goes. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the books. I'll be showing off some of the stuff that I hauled, all of the collected edition comics that I hauled for the months of June and July, as I mentioned, and also be giving you some a brief review on the books that I did actually also read that I ended up picking up during this period of time. So, and then, the things that I haven't read also, just let you know my thoughts on it, maybe why I picked it up, and just give you a brief idea of everything that I got here for you guys today. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, guys, and if you do hear a little bit of background noise as I'm going through the books here, I apologize. I'm trying to make it so it doesn't get picked up, but I got a fan going here in the room that I'm currently in. Very hot here today, so if the audio quality isn't up to par because you can hear a little bit of the noise in the background, my apologies. Just don't want to pass out while I'm doing this video, so bear with me, please. All right, here we go. So first up, these are going to be the books that I ended up reading that I picked up throughout the months of June and July 2021. Many of these books did come out during this period of time as well. So if I am showing off the book here for you guys today, that means that it is for sale. It should have already had come out about a month or two ago. Hopefully they aren't out of print, a lot of these things as of yet. So if is there anything that here that catches your eye that you did want to check out, these have all been released in the last 2 months. I'm going to try to do the June and then the July, and I'll mention that as I go on. And as I said, these are all books that I actually ended up reading as well. So if I have any brief thoughts on those, like any quick reviews for you guys, I will let you know what I think. All right, so first up, we're going to go through some manga volumes that I picked up in the month of June. This is One Punch Man, volume 22. I quite like this series still. It's been a while. Like the schedule for these is actually pretty slow now compared to how it was coming out before. I guess there's been some delays with the, I guess the artist. I know that ever since this kind of blew up and became very popular with the anime and stuff like that, maybe this is why they're busier nowadays, the creators of this book. But I don't know the main reason, but this still is a lot of fun. I look forward to this whenever it does come out. I don't really read much shonen manga, probably only a couple of titles, and this is one of them. Quite frankly, because it actually, while also becoming like a great fighting manga on its own as well. There's been a bunch of times where they've at least referenced other kind of shonen mangas or how they are, or some of the like ways that shonens are normally. They would kind of spoof a little bit in One Punch Man, I find at times. But in and of itself, though, it is also a very good shonen manga. It does follow a lot of the same tropes, while sometimes things are tongue in cheek at the same time. I really like this organization of heroes that, you know, face the villains and their rankings and everything throughout the city. I kind of really like that idea of that. And, you know, how One Punch Man, again, is just somehow super powerful. And while all these other characters that we've been introduced have been struggling with certain villains over the last few volumes, I find, you know, if he's ever involved or shows up, he kind of just comes in and makes easy work of them. So, yeah, great art, fun story. If you're unfamiliar with One Punch Man, like I mentioned, there is an anime out as well now, and 22 volumes of the manga translated in English, and still something I look forward to whenever it does come out, although it's been a little bit late lately. Okay, and then next up we got Chainsaw Man. This is, I guess, one of the other shonens I read. This is volume 5, you know, printed by Viz Media, another very popular manga for a while there. A lot of these earlier volumes of this, although I think we're only about 6 volumes in right now. I think the 6th one just came out this past month. This came out in June. So the 6th volume just came out in August here at time of this recording. This is a lot of fun as well. A pretty crazy fucking story. At times it's a little bit hard to follow for me. I dig the art though. I read the artist and writer Tatsuki Fujimoto. Apologies if I'm not saying that right. I read his previous book. I was put onto his previous book called Fire Punch. And because that one was really out there, and and I dug the art as well on it. And what I have read, I own all the volumes. It's only an 8-volume manga. So if you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, maybe check out the other one, the other book that came previous to this. But that one's a little bit more. I think that's on their Viz signature line, so it's a bit more of a adult content, I think. Although this isn't really for kids either, I would say. So there's definitely some shit that goes on in this as well too. But yeah, I liked Fire Punch, for at least what I read of it, although I never finished it. So and then when this came out, and just the idea that it's a guy with a friggin' chainsaw head really interested me. And then when after the first couple of volumes of it being just like great art, great action, interesting things going on, and just being very popular, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to follow this. And I believe the series is actually already concluded in Japan. It may only be like a dozen volumes all said and done. So I like how this artist, this mangaka, the creator of this, this and Fire Punch, as I mentioned, I like how he seems to be kind of moving at a faster clip than some of the other artists. Like he hasn't actually committed to doing a long form story as of yet. I find so it's cool. Like I've only known of him for the past few years, and he's already come out with this and Fire Punch, which have both concluded. So like, you know, we're not getting into One Piece territory as of yet, where, you know, he's going to be doing 100 volumes the next thing you know, right? So I'm liking how he's kind of complete. And I think he also completed a short story that followed Chainsaw Man that was in like a Shonen Weekly or something recently that I read about online. I don't think it's been collected anywhere yet and translated for English, but I think you could read it digitally. So I don't think a print version is out as of yet. So yeah, I like how he's moving along and doing all kinds of different things. And Chainsaw Man is a lot of fun. So definitely check this out if you've yet to do so. All right, then we got my favorite current ongoing manga, which is Golden Kamui. Kamui. I don't know how you pronounce this. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But volume 22 by Satoru Noda. I've talked about this book in previous hauls. I have pretty much nothing else new to add to this other than the fact that they are definitely coming towards the conclusion of this. You can feel it. All the characters are kind of coming together finally. A lot of showdowns that we've been waiting for between certain characters are finally coming to a head here. And I can't wait for the conclusion of this story. Although I've really enjoyed what like the whole way through. I've really enjoyed it. I think they've been mixing great mystery, intrigue, and like, you know, action adventure type stuff throughout. It's very violent when it has to be. It teaches you things, history as well of the Ainu people. So yeah, it's a great book. It just got a great mixture of everything I'm kind of looking for in a title, as well as fantastic art, great characters, fun characters, great character work, and it comes out on time. Like every 2-3 months, they come out with a new volume. So like they've just been chugging along these books as they've been getting translated and put out through Viz Media. And I'm not sure if this has concluded as of yet in Japan, but I believe it will be soon, is from what I heard, because you can tell even by reading it, it's coming to a conclusion. So it might be, maybe 30 or so volumes when it's all said and done. This is volume 22. So if I had to take a guess. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I believe this is also either coming out with an anime, or they've definitely already come out with the first season that I'm not aware of. I've not watched a lot of recent anime of anything, but I love the book. So definitely check this out if this sounds interesting to you. All right, then we got Dead Demons DDD Destruction Volume 9 from Inio Asano, somebody whose work I'm a fan of for the most part. I haven't loved everything I've read by him, but this is a great series. I really like this. This is also, I think, concluding. This is Volume 9. I think 10 might be the last, 10 or 11. It is definitely wrapping up, I believe, is what I had heard. So, again, another one printed and translated by Viz Media. I really like this series. It's not my favorite thing I've read by him. I've still really enjoyed like Solanin, which is great because it's like just one oversized volume. It's a single volume of a story, and definitely a little bit more on the optimistic, lighter side for Inio Asano. And because a lot of the other stuff I've read can be, very either depressing or like definitely darker toned than something like that. So I think that's a good introduction to his work. But then I would probably check out. A lot of people would suggest Goodnight Pun Pun is probably his best thing he's done. I've only read, I think, the first 2 volumes of that, although I own them all. And Downfall, which is a more recent release by him. I don't know if that was received well by most people, but again, it's a single volume. I really enjoyed it. That's definitely, again, more on the depressive side of things, I would say. This one's somewhere in between. I mean, this has definitely some mature content, so definitely some more serious moments throughout, but it is also a fun book, and it's definitely commenting, I think, on the human race currently, or the way that the world is a little bit in that sense. So without getting too much into the plot, if you're a fan of Inio Asano's work, you've yet to check this out. Like I said, it's wrapping up soon. Definitely check this one out. I think it's really good. The art's always great as usual. Some fun characters in this as well. Interesting story. But again, not my most favorite thing he's done, but it's definitely worth checking out. I have been enjoying it. There is aliens involved, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. So definitely check this out if you're a fan of his, or if this is the first time. I think you can pick this up as maybe the first. Again, I would probably suggest Solanin, even though it's a little bit different in tone than some of his other works. But that's probably my favorite thing that I've read of Inio Asano's. And then you can probably check one of these out. All right, and we got the 21st Century Boys, the epilogue volume. This is the master editions, basically these 2-in-1 fatter kind of books that they've been putting out over the last few years through Viz Media. That previously collected in the single volumes, like signature line through Viz of 20th Century Boys. And then there was 2 volumes of the epilogue 21st Century Boys that was collected in just one of these. And there's 11 volumes of the master edition, or I guess they're calling perfect edition. I think that was the monster ones they called that. So the perfect editions of 20th Century Boys. So just to give you a comparison, this is the 11th and final volume of the 20th Century Boys. But again, they're all like the same size, fatter volumes. And now that you get the epilogue. So I had read about half of this series in the previous volumes, and I ended up not coming back to it because then they started coming out with these editions. So I ended up selling what I had of the older editions and started picking these up. So then I ended up rereading all of these volumes within the last, I don't know, probably when this came out in June, I ended up reading all of the perfect editions that I had of these at that time. Of course, very nice watercolor pages at the start of each volume. You get a few pages of colored work. And yeah, I don't even really want to go through this, guys, because it kind of, I don't want to spoil anything. Anyways, this was great. I know a lot of people have said this is Naoki Urasawa's best thing he's done. I was rare. I loved Monster, loved Pluto. I've read those completely, and I've read all the other kind of his current series that he's been coming out with. I've been reading that, and a lot of his other shorter works that they've released in English as of yet. But this everybody who says this is one of his best things he's done, I'd be hard to argue against that. Honestly, I don't know what my favorite thing is. I still really, really love Pluto and Monster. The first time I checked it out, it was amazing. So this is definitely in the mix, though. This 20th Century Boys, if not the best thing he's done. Very satisfying ending. A lot of twists and turns, a lot, as in a lot of his things that he's done, a lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue, a lot of really interesting stuff going on in there. So these are all completely being released, these 2-in-1 kind of editions, 12 volumes in all, if you count this epilogue 21st Century Boys along with the 11 volumes of 20th Century Boys. Perfect editions. Check these out, guys. If you get to check out Naoki Urasawa's work, it's just fantastic. I just really don't want to flip through this that much because I don't want to spoil anything, but great artwork as usual. If you like his style, if you like the kind of stories that he does, you'll definitely love this. It was amazing. Definitely check this out. And last but not least, for the June manga releases that I picked up and read, Fist of the North Star. Now, this is a long out of print English translation that's being recently being released through Viz Media. These nice hardcovers. These are nice smaller hardcovers in the Viz signature line. This is an older manga, probably late 80s, early 90s time. At least that's the time that we received it here, I believe, for the first time in English translation. There's old printings of this. They also did single issues back in the day of some of this stuff and some older kind of releases, collected editions. But I don't know if it was ever fully collected or released here or in America. So the fact that they're reprinting these, something I've heard about, a property I heard about for a very, very long time. I love that these are coming out, and there's like lots of volumes to come apparently. So I think these are probably collecting like, I don't know, a volume and a half, these hardcovers. I think it's maybe a little bit more than what a single volume of manga would release. So yeah. This is just a guy that whoops everybody's ass, like in a Mad Max style kind of like post-apocalyptic type scenario, guys. Like if you're a fan of great artwork and action and violence, you need to check this out. Honestly, it just was so much fun. It's very simple. The premise is very simple. But all I gotta say is basically this guy just comes about and just like whoops major ass in this book. Yeah, there's all these like bad biker dudes. Oh man, he just you look at it. I mean, look at this guy on the cover. Like he's got like, I think those are bullet holes in this guy's chest. Essentially, he's just he just comes in and kung fu's the shit out of these guys. Easy as that. That's all I gotta say. You gotta check this out. This was a hell of a lot of fun. The art is fantastic, and the violent fighting and him whooping everybody's ass is just so much fun. I know I'm just repeating myself at this point, but like, yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It is definitely reminds me of like a Mad Max type action as well. Yeah, I just loved this. This was fantastic. I can't wait till the next volume comes out. I think it comes out in September. They can't bring these out fast enough. I forgot how many volumes I heard it was going to be. I think it's like 18 or 20 volumes or something easily. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying the rest of this ride here, and definitely check this out if you're like me and you've never read this or had heard great things about it. Now's your chance. First volume's out. That's the only volume out as of yet. The second volume will be coming soon, and they're like these really sweet looking hardcovers that only about $19.99 US retail, maybe a bit more in Canada depending where you're going to pick it up from, but well worth it. All right, then getting into some of the trade paperbacks here that I picked up and read through the month of June. Harley Quinn, Black and White and Red. This was a great anthology series done by some of today's best talent, artistic talent in comics. Basically, this was a DC digital first book, so that means like all the DC all these comics, this is the first time they've seen print is in this volume. And so you couldn't get single issues of this at the store. So if this is something you overlooked, definitely go back and pick this up. This is fantastic. Like, look at the talent on here. Written by, you got a lot of the stuff that's written and drawn by the artists as well. But Stepan Sejic, Mirka Andolfo, Saladin Ahmed, Tim Seeley, Riley Rossmo, Sean Murphy and his wife Katena Collins, Erica Henderson, Daniel Kibblesmith, Joe Quinones, Simon Spurrier, Amanda Connor, and Jimmy Palmiotti, Jordi Belair, Sam Humphries, Frank Thierry, Patrick Schumacher, Liz Erickson, David Mandel, Paul Dini. Now, that's people that wrote it, but a lot of the same names you're going to see in the art section here. But if not, I mean, let's see here. You got Javier Rodriguez, that wasn't mentioned, Juan Ferreira, Rossmo wrote and drew. Yeah, Mateo Scalera, Marguerite Savage, Erica Henderson, she wrote it as well. Yeah, Otto Schmidt, Chad Harden. These are some fantastic artists that have already worked with Harley before, or have worked, or this is maybe the first time they have. All the art in this book is fantastic. It's literally one fantastic artist after another, guys. I can't stress that enough. Greg Smallwood, Stephen Byrne, Tom Fowler, Tom Derenick, Adam Hughes, Kevin Altieri. Like, the talent in this title, like for an anthology that was digital first, honestly, this is, you need to, if this was overlooked on your part, you need to pick this up. This was, I'm not a huge fan of anthologies either, guys, like personally, but this was definitely well worth it and well rounded out. I almost enjoyed every single story, and if I didn't enjoy the story itself, I enjoyed the art in it. The art choices in this were fantastic. Here you got some Stepan Sejic there. Even if you're not a big Harley fan, honestly, this is I mean, it's the artists in this are crazy. Mirka Andolfo drew and wrote this one. She's really good. What else we got here? Javier Rodriguez. I mean, oh my God. Yeah, like, what's this? This one here. Great covers too. Juan Ferreira, another great artist. Riley Rossmo. Man, you got some Mateo Scalera there. So the same guys that did, the same team that did the last White Knight, Batman White Knight, Harley Quinn miniseries that came out. Mateo Scalera, the artist in that, and the writer Sean Murphy, who drew the first two parts of White Knight. His wife Katena Collins. Look at this. I mean, good. I don't want to spend all day on this one, but I just want to, can't stress enough, like the fantastic art teams on this book. And so if you guys missed this, definitely go back and pick this up. Look at that. Wow. I just, the Batman black and white, of course, which is the idea that they're trying to do here. This is Harley Quinn black, white, and red. And they're only using those colors while doing this. The Batman black and white anthology series, which is very, popular in its own right. I don't know why they decided to put this digital first, though, and only put out the trade paperback instead of releasing print issues. Like, Harley Quinn is a huge character, and I get that the Batman black and white thing has been done before. It's very well known at this point, and there was a great number of talents that were just on the most recent Batman black and white series that just concluded as well. But why not put this into print as well? Now they're doing the same thing. They just did the same thing with Superman red and blue, Wonder Woman black and gold, I believe it's called. But so why didn't they bring this out in issues? I have no idea, but that's what I mean. So, like, again, level of talent, like, I know digital comics, there's a lot of people that read their comics digitally. I'm not one of them for the most part. So I'm glad they released this in a print edition, this trade paperback, but it's deserving the deluxe hardcover treatment, oversized art. It's, it deserved to see print, I think, as a single issues as well. So I think anybody who missed this definitely grab this. I can't stress it. Now look at this, Greg Smallwood. Holy shit. Beautiful art, great stories. And everyone's different, right? You don't dig one of the art styles or one of the stories, wait 10 pages or however long they are and on to the next one here. That's a great thing about anthologies. But again, I'm not a huge fan of the anthology format. Highly recommend this one, though. I think every art team, at the very least, and most of the stories were very enjoyable in this. So there we go. Harley Quinn, black, white, and red. And next up, we got volume 4 of Black Cat, Queen in Black, the newest trade paperback of Black Cat that had come out. I guess this came out in June that I read this. About volume 5, I think, is about to come out soon, next week or two. I love this series. Sorry, excuse me. I didn't think I'd be reading a Black Cat series as long as I have with these trades that have been coming out, quite honestly. I'm surprised as you are. Maybe to hear that there's like an ongoing Black Cat series that's this good, but honestly, this is just a hell of a lot of fun. This series got some great artists coming in and out of the book. I don't think there's been a very consistent art team, but I think that every story has been fun. Little kind of like stories about her stealing stuff, getting to know the people that work with her, getting to know with her relationships with others within the Marvel universe. And yeah, again, it's just a lot of fun and much better than I would have thought a Black Cat ongoing series would be. Not that I don't like the Black Cat. I like the Black Cat as a character, just like, to see that we're already, again, it ended and came back. This was, I believe, part of Queen in Black. This is part of the King in Black. They used it as a soft relaunch of sorts after the series seemed to be canceled. They came out with a mini series of Black Cat during during this time of the King in Black miniseries coming out. But after this, it continued. Like it's continuing right now. I believe they're going to already come up to volume 6, and the trade paperbacks already has been solicited. So, written by Jed McKay, and an artist in this one, C.F. Villa, Nina Vakuva, and Michael Dowling on issue 5. So yeah, hell of a lot of fun. Definitely check out the Black Cat series if you have not as of yet. Highly recommended. All right, so this is volume 3 of Batman Earth 1. This is the, I think, concluding volume of the Jeff Johns Batman Earth 1 series, original graphic novels that they've been coming out with. Written by Jeff Johns, art by Gary Frank. And we've been waiting for this third volume for quite some time. It's been very delayed. Of course, Jeff John and Gary Frank kind of did Doomsday Clock during this period of time. And I'm sure he was maybe drawing this at the same time or doing had some work banked on this one prior to it being released. Because I can't remember the last time the volume 2 came out, probably 4 or 5 years ago or something at the very least, maybe more. So don't quote me on that. But these are always fun. Gary Frank always does great work with Jeff Johns. This has been a little bit of like the Earth 1 series. It's like a Elseworlds of sort, out of continuity reimagining, I guess, the start of Batman as being Batman, and that's kind of what the journey has been in these Jeff Johns books. I know some of the people have commented on that these ones are a little bit dark for their likings. Some of the Batman Earth 1 stuff that goes on in these books may be a little out of character. I think that's the whole point, maybe trying to modernize it, maybe trying to give you a different take on these characters as Jeff John is doing on Batman. I like most of Jeff John's work, though. I like Batman. And like I said, I like Gary Frank's stuff when he works with Jeff Johns, which he primarily does nowadays. And so, yeah, I liked this. I had no problem with this. I thought it was fun and if a different take of sorts. But again, slightly different, like small differences in this compared to, it's not huge things where they're like reimagining everything. But this is definitely not the Batman I guess we currently have in the comics. And yeah, it's definitely out of continuity, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. So Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. And June was a great month. We got a couple of new Hellboy hardcover releases, which I wait a long time for to read. I'm totally out of the loop when it comes to current Hellboy stuff and what they're doing. But I always wait for these hardcovers to come out. So these are like, they're not like omnibus size or library edition size for Dark Horse. There's a little bit of smaller hardcovers, probably the size of a trade paperback. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger than a trade paperback, as you can see there. So yeah, that's the size. That's the size of these. They're basically like standard edition size hardcovers, but they're fat and they usually collect like a whole chunk of BPRD era. So this is basically all the stories set from 1952 to 1954 that they've been coming out with, and these hardcovers serve as a great way to catch up with the BPRD or Hellboy stuff. And they usually put them in a great reading order for you. And since there's so many different miniseries that come out in the Hellboy and BPRD universe, I usually just wait for these hardcover editions to come out and read them this way. So, but it always seems like I'm a little bit behind. Not that they're telling any current current day stories in this with Hellboy BPRD anyways. That story has pretty much ended, the modern day story of them, and now they're kind of telling stories in the past, all kinds of different eras, so of him with the BPRD. So this is Hellboy and BPRD 1952 1954. Of course, always fantastic art teams that work in the Mignola verse. I think this is Alex Maleev. Yeah, Alex Maleev on this first one, written by Mike Mignola and John Arcudi, which basically do majority of the other series nowadays. Sorry, guys. Trying to see if you see the art here. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this. Yeah, again, I can't speak to a lot of the miniseries that have been coming out recently. I don't read them in trade. I wait for these hardcovers. So sometimes, like, these stories may have came out 5-6 years ago that they're collecting in this volume. So I'm very behind in that sense, but I love the presentation of these hardcovers. I love all the BPRD and Hellboy stuff. Honestly, it's all of a similar type of quality that I've come to expect from these, from the art, from all the different artists that work for the Mignola verse, as well as the type of stories that are being told. So if you've read any Hellboy or BPRD stuff prior to this, then this is just going to be another great release for you that had come out. If you're new to it, though, this probably is not the best place to start. Although I wouldn't say it's the worst place to start either. It's just some of these stories, some of the occurrences that are happening in them, or the characters that you've come across. Because again, these are stories that take place in the past, so that's why I said it's not the worst place to start. But if you've read a lot of the other things already in this universe, you'll actually have a better point of reference for who a lot of these people are, or what makes some of these things that happen significant. So yeah, the things that are collected in this one were, just give you one moment, Hellboy and the BPRD 1952, and Hellboy and the BPRD 1953 England, Hellboy and the BPRD 1953 Wandering Souls, Hellboy and the BPRD 1953 Beyond the Fences. Then you got Black Sun, The Unreasoning Beast, Ghost Moon, and The Mirror. And those are all the from 52 to 54 different miniseries that are collected in here. So yeah, another great addition to the Hellboy universe. And then we got Hellboy Universe. Speaking of the Hellboy Universe, the Secret Histories. Now, I believe this collects 3 different miniseries, which again take place in the universe but aren't significant. Like, they don't directly tie into. I think there are different characters that take place and stories that take place in the same universe, but aren't exactly Hellboy or the BPRD. One of them, I think, is the Visitor that was collected in this. Yeah. So first off, you got Rasputin. Of course, if you read Hellboy, you'll know of him. He played a big part in that. The Voice of the Dragon. Then you got Sledgehammer 44, 2 miniseries of him. The first one, and then Sledgehammer 44, Lightning War, and then the Visitor, How and Why He Stayed. Different art teams in there. You got Mike Mignola and Chris Robertson writing that. Rasputin one with Christopher Midden on art. Jason Latour drawing the first Sledgehammer 44, and Lawrence Campbell drawing the second one. And Paul Grist on art of the Visitor and How and Why He Stayed. That is my favorite of all of these, I would say. Of course, John Arcudi wrote the Sledgehammer along with Mike Mignola on those. But the Visitor, How and Why He Stayed was my favorite of all the miniseries in here. I previously had read the Sledgehammer 44, the first one, and it's good too. Rasputin was really, really interesting. Take a look at some of the art teams in here, though. Again, all great art teams, all pretty good stories as well. But the Visitor and How and Why He Stayed was my favorite. Apparently, like, he's like some sort of alien that was in the background, essentially. Like in the past, I guess he came to Earth to observe us and ended up staying on Earth. And he actually came around the time that Hellboy actually, I guess, was had joined the BPRD and all that other good stuff. So he's been around since back in the day during the period of Hellboy becoming a thing and being brought on the team of BPRD. He's kind of just being in the background, observing Earth and the Earthlings and this kind of thing. So it's an interesting outside looking in type thing with still a weird creature, something that they would encounter as part of the BPRD. Oh, excuse me. Too much talking. All right, so yeah, this Sledgehammer 44, I think. Oh no, that's Rasputin too. Yeah, there we go. This is Sledgehammer 44 now. Jason Latour on art. Lawrence Campbell. All really great artists. And there's the Paul Grist art for The Visitor, how and why he stayed. Yeah, very angular, very lots of shading, lots of blacks, the inks. Very cool. All right, that's Hellboy Universe. And probably my favorite of all releases that came out that I read for the first time, mind you. This is the Madman Library Edition, the Madmaniverse. Yeah, there we go. Mike Allred, Madman Volume 1. So that's this here. The Madman Universe Library, Madmaniverse, printed by Dark Horse Comics in a beautiful oversized deluxe edition, library edition, as they call with a lot of the Dark Horse releases like this of Mike Allred's Madman. Let me just take the dust jacket off of this. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful book. Retailed for a bit much. It was like $100, but well worth it in my opinion, especially if you can get a discount on this. So this is my first time checking out Mike Allred's Madmen. I've never read it before. Huge Mike Allred fan, but probably just of all the other stuff that I've seen since being introduced to him as an artist, probably that he's done for the big two. Not really his creator-owned Madman stuff, because a lot of it was out of print. And so I'm so glad that they're collecting. I think it's within 6 volumes. They're collecting all of his independent Madman stuff that he did. For different publishers. He kind of bounced around for a good while, and some of his other indie work as well that he said is going to be collected in here that I guess maybe takes place maybe in the same universe, as well as other creator-owned stuff that he feels that that is appropriate to put in these editions. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to each and every single release of these. If you're new to Mike Allred's Madmen, this is a perfect jumping on point. This actually even publishes some stuff that was never published before. This is it being published for the first time, as well as his wife, Laura Allred, coloring some of this, recoloring some of the older stuff that she didn't color for the first time. So everything looks beautiful. She worked with Mike Allred, of course, is his wife for a long time now. But just having her kind of involved along with his fantastic art. This team, I mean, it gets no better than this. I love Mike Allred. If you're a Mike Allred fan, definitely pick this up. Or if you're just a fan of fun stories and good art, I wasn't always sure about him as a writer, but I got to say, I really enjoy this, especially some of the early Madman stuff. Like he looked a little bit different at first, as you can tell from some of these images. And then it's interesting to see how his kind of look changed and took shape as time went on, and all the guest artists, I believe this is Mobius, like all the guest artists that he got to do covers for Mad Men over the years at like different publishers and all this kind of stuff, all the great level of talent that Mike Allred was able to bring as to do cover work for him. It's fantastic. It's yeah, I mean, again, I can't say enough good things about this. I love him as an artist, and I love oversized hardcovers, especially the library editions from Dark Horse Comics. So I was really anticipating this release, and it did not disappoint. Each volume too, it looks like it's gonna have like a ribbon as well, so you can mark your place in it while reading. Don't lose your spot. But yeah. The only thing I would say is that this is a fat volume, though. It's like we're talking about 700 pages. So while it is $100, yeah, the price point is kind of high for it. Like I said, it's a nice deluxe edition. It's great art, looks great, oversized. If you're either a huge Mike Allred fan or trying to and have not seen this stuff ever before, it's well worth it. Well worth it. And hopefully you can get a discount on this. Hopefully it's still in print even. I know there's going to be about 6 volumes, I think, all said and done for these library editions, so I can't wait. So there you go. Mad Men by Mike Allred. Probably my favorite thing that I've read and picked up that month. Did not disappoint. And last but not least, we got the World of Black Hammer. This is the library edition from Dark Horse Comics. This collects Colonel Weird, Cosmogog, and Barbalian Red Planet. These Black Hammer, World of Black Hammer volumes, these hardcovers that they've been bringing out. It's this is volume 3, and they've been basically collecting outside of the main Black Hammer main series, all the mini series that have come out of the different characters in the Black Hammer universe. They've been collecting it in these library editions. Black Hammer, of course, has also had library editions. I think 2 volumes so far, but that's been all like the main series of Black Hammer, and this is all kind of like the spin-off mini series on different characters collected in these. So yeah, this one was really good. I gotta say, out of the 2, these mini series, they were good. I like all Black Hammer stuff, but I think that the first 2 volumes had a mini series that I definitely enjoyed more. But it's not to say that the ones in this volume aren't good either. I do love Tyler Crook, the artist on the Colonel Weird mini series that he did. So that's him, Tyler Crook, right there, the artist. Big fan of his. He did Harrow County. More recently, I guess, with Cullen Bunn, prior to working with Lemire and some of this Black Hammer stuff. Yeah, so I love his style. And the Barbalian story was really good too. I quite enjoyed that as well. Again, similar to the Hellboy stuff that they do here through Dark Horse Comics, all the Black Hammer stuff has been great creators, great artists working on these stories. So these are both written by Jeff Lemire. Actually, I believe the Barbalian one is maybe just plotted by Lemire, written by somebody else. So that was also a really good one. I again can't say it's a level of quality to all these series that they bring. So if you like Black Hammer and you've checked it out, definitely give a chance to the spin-off miniseries that they've done so far. Yeah, this is the Barbalian one here. Of course, the artist that worked on Vision with Tom King, that I'm blanking on his name right now. Gabriel Hernandez Walta. Yeah, he's amazing too. And yeah, script was by Tate Brombal, for Barbalian Red Planet. So, and Jeff Lemire also worked on it with him. So, yeah. So Walta's art is really great too. And yeah, I enjoyed both miniseries. So check these out. Again, for me, owning them in these oversized hardcovers is great, just because it's a great showcase of the artists that work on these books. They're all usually pretty good. Oversized artwork looks good for these guys, and I'm a huge fan of the Black Hammer universe. So for me, it's a nice pickup. But if it's your first time checking out Black Hammer, maybe not start with the library editions. They're a bit more pricey. I think this retails for about $50 US. So it's a bigger commitment. But if you love Black Hammer, it's well worth it. Okay, now moving on to the books that I came out in June that I didn't read. We'll be checking out for the first time. I picked up this Mighty Thor Epic Collection. This is the Final Gauntlet, art written by Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends on art for the most part. And they also got a couple other writers in here, because I believe this collected, you got Thor Core 1 to 4 and Thor 451 to 467. If I'm not mistaken, this might be the final volume in the DeFalco run on Thor that I've heard great things about. And if not, it's definitely coming to the end. But yeah, this is I've heard great things about the Tom DeFalco Thor run, so I've made sure to pick these epic collections with his name on it when they've been coming out. I have them all that they've come out with, except for one that's out of print now, that I'm waiting, Immortal Flesh, I believe, which was the DeFalco run, which I'm waiting for them to reprint, hopefully. But otherwise, yeah, it's been some. I haven't read any of these volumes yet. The DeFalco Thor. Very much looking forward to, once it's all collected in Epic Collections, to delve into this, because I've heard good things about this, and I've heard good things about his Fantastic Four, and I like Ron Friends, and I think I'm gonna like this. I like Thor, so yeah, very much looking forward to this. So yeah, another Thor Epic Collection. Big fan of the Epic line and what they've been doing. Then we got Flash by Mark Waid, book 8. Finally, all of the Flash run by Mark Waid is now collected in paperbacks. They've yet to actually release any hardcovers or omnibus of this run, but if these sold well enough, maybe that'll open the doors now for them to consider doing that. I'm probably just going to stick with my paperbacks, depending on how much I actually love this run when I actually get around to reading it. Maybe if they do solicit an omnibus at some point, I might have to double dip. But yeah, this is very much looking forward to reading this. I've heard great things about this run, and this is the first time, I think, even in particular, these issues that are in this volume may have never been actually collected at all. I think his whole Flash run has been uncollected for a very long time. So the fact that they've come out with 8 volumes of this, as well as the Impulse volume that they've done so far of his Impulse series, I know there's a lot of Flash fans that are very happy about this, as well as a lot of Mark Waid fans that are very happy about this. So yeah, I'm happy to check it out. Finally, I will probably talk about it when I do get around to reading it for you guys. But I'm just happy to own it all now. And yeah, this is by him, Brian Agostin, who is one of his co-writers for some time, wrote on this as well. Paul Pelletier, Doug Braithwaite, Scott Collins, Duncan Rouleau, Ron Lim, Tom Morgan, some of the pencilers on here. And this collects the Flash 151 to 163, Flash Annual 12, and Flash Secret Files #2. There you go. All of Mark Waid's Flash collected. And then, of course, we got Superman, the Man of Steel, Volume 3, the John Byrne Superman run. He's got, Jerry Ordway, Carl Kessel on art here, John Beatty, I'm sure, doing inks. Again, I know a lot of people are pissed off about these releases because they did not release them in an omnibus or oversized format as of yet. And this has been one of the long-awaited, things that people have been wanting to be collected in that way. Not only does, John Byrne is very popular amongst comic fans of this era. You also, it's Superman, and yeah, it's weird that it's not collected in any other format other than these hardcovers so far. I mean, I know there was a lot of out of print paperbacks that they did the whole run back in the day, but good luck finding those. So the fact that they've been coming out with these hardcovers, I believe there might be one more hardcover, maybe collecting the rest of the run. I think there were some other issues they said they could throw in another hardcover, but otherwise, this is pretty much the bulk of it that's released in this standard size hardcover format right now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to delving into this series. I've heard many great things about it. I've heard it's probably one of the definitive Superman runs, and it was a big deal because it was John Byrne going over to DC to reimagine this character for them at that time, and the Triangle era and everything else that followed of him bouncing around all the different titles here. So it's we got this collects Superman 12 to 15, Superman Annual, Action Comics 594 to 597, Action Comics Annual 1, Adventures of Superman 436 to 438. Yeah, so it was Action, Adventures, and Superman. Yeah. Adventures of Superman Annual and Booster Gold 23 and Superman the Earth Sealers #1. So yeah, very much looking forward to checking this out. And then we got X-Men Age of Apocalypse, the omnibus reprint. So this had already come out previously. I'm aware of this era of the X-Men. I mean, of course, this was happening when I was younger and reading comics, or at least in and out around that time. And I've never actually read this all for myself. So I'm very much looking to delving into this and reading this for the first time. This omnibus collects all, I think, the main series stuff that was going on with the Age Apocalypse throughout the titles at that time. Of course, there's also the Age of Apocalypse Companion Omnibus, which collects a bunch of miniseries, I believe, that have come out following Age of Apocalypse, maybe revisiting this era of the X-Men. From what I was told, it really doesn't have a lot to do with any of this actual stuff that happened during the main event at this time, a line-wide event. So if you're really interested in that era of the X-Men or just all things Age of Apocalypse, check out the Companion. But if you just want the main story and storyline that was going on for Age of Apocalypse at that time, it's all collected in this omnibus. So this is the only one I ended up picking up for that reason. And this collects Uncanny X-Men 320 to 321, X-Men 40 to 41, Cable 20, X-Men Alpha, Amazing X-Men 1 to 4, Astonishing X-Men 1 to 4, Factor X 1 to 4, Gambit and Externals 1 to 4, Generation Next 1 to 4, Weapon X 1 to 4, Excalibur 1 to 4, X-Man 1 to 4, X-Men Omega, and Age of Apocalypse, The Chosen, and X-Men Ashcan #2. So that is all that's collected in this omnibus. Basically all the series, I guess, that's spun out of Age of Apocalypse, or when it actually occurred in the comics, so it's collected in this omnibus. And last but not least, we got this book that didn't come out in June, but I ended up picking it up in June. Wicca. This is an oversized hardcover, printed by Statix Press. It looks like, written by Thomas Day, art by Olivier Ledreau. I think it's like he's a European artist, and basically, yeah, I mean, this is very detailed artwork. I was told in this fantasy steampunk based, very detailed art. Looks like it's painted, definitely of a European art. Not even influence. I'm sure he is a European artist here. And wow, breathtaking stuff. I've yet to read this, so I can't speak to it. But it was. I came across it, heard great things, especially about the artwork. Figured I'd pick it up and check it out. So, wow, look at the spreads in this. And again, oversized hardcover as well bodes well for me for this type of art that is very deserving of it. Yeah, great stuff. All right, so this is for the July books I picked up in July now that I've read very quickly. Die Dark #2 by Q Hayashida. This is a manga. I talked about the first volume and how much how much I loved that on the channel here when I picked it up as well a couple of months back. This is by the creator of the other manga that was very popular, Doro Hedoro. That's also got an anime now on Netflix that the first season is out for. I think it's a Netflix exclusive. I've watched the anime as well. It's a lot of fun. So if you've read that and you're familiar with this creator's type of more dark gothic kind of style, artwork style, as well as dark humor and weird characters that that are definitely very, little more on the gothic, scary looking side as well, then you'll be familiar with what they kind of like doing. And I think this Die Dark is, more of the same. It could take place in the same world as Doro Hedoro, as far as I'm concerned. If you're a fan of this creator's artwork or what they do, I think you'll love this. I'm loving it so far. It's very funny, very fun, fantastic artwork, as I mentioned. Love all the characters, all the kind of weird stuff that's going on in this book. Yeah, I love it all. It's great stuff. So definitely check this out. Only 2 volumes out yet. This is printed by Seven Seas Entertainment. Seven Seas, the manga imprint. And yeah, so it's a little bit smaller. These mangas are a little bit smaller scale than even like what you normally expect from like a Viz Media manga. It's a little bit smaller, like a shonen one. Let's take a look here. So as you can tell, there you go. So it's a little bit smaller, not by much though. Then next up, we got Hell's Paradise Volume 9. Again, I've talked about this manga before on the show. I still very much like it. This is a story and art by Yuji Kaku. It's coming to a head. I think there's only a couple of volumes left of this story. It's already been completed in Japan, so I only think there's a few more English translation volumes here for us, printed by Viz. Again, a lot of action, a lot of things coming to a head. Lots of samurai type stuff going on, which I'm a sucker for. So Hell's Paradise, really enjoy it. Definitely pick this series up when it's concluded, or if you're looking for a short-lived kind of manga that's got a lot of great art and action throughout, Hell's Paradise, I really highly recommend it. Or if you love samurais like I do. Then we got this nice little mini series that came out, Taskmaster. This is written by Jed McKay, same writer as I mentioned that's doing Black Cat at the moment. He did this little mini series with Alessandro Vitti on art of Taskmaster. And I quite enjoyed this a lot. If you like Taskmaster as a character, or you just want a fun, approachable, adventurous take on the character, if this is maybe your first time or introduction to him, this is a nice fun romp throughout the Marvel universe of him being involved in some sort of getting strung along as in some sort of mission that he becomes a part of all of a sudden, and just seeing him try to fight his way through some of the people he came across in this one, the threats that were brought to him, trying to figure a way out of them, each scenario. It's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this mini series. I thought it was. I'm a fan of Taskmaster, and I think as soon as I heard he had a mini series coming out, I was like, sign me up, and it did not disappoint. So I think it's collected 1 to 5 of the Taskmaster mini series. That's Taskmaster, the Rubicon Trigger trade. And then we got Rain Like Hammers, the newest Brendan Graham miniseries that just wrapped up. It's issues 1 to 5. I'm a fan of Brandon Graham's artwork. I can't say that I understood what the fuck was going on towards the end of this miniseries because I read it in issues originally. So I picked up the collected edition because I have all this stuff in collected edition as well. And I hope that it makes a little bit more sense. Maybe, hopefully, reading it all in one chunk. But for me, as I said, as I read it in issues, I probably lost the thread about halfway through. Probably by issue 3, I was like, I don't have no clue what's going on anymore. So but again, big fan of his cartooning. So I'm willing to give it another shot in the collected edition and see if it made a little bit more sense to me this way around. But I had a lot of fun with this. Still, it is an experience as always. Delving into any of the books he does, a lot of crazy stuff goes on in these ones. So Rain Like Hammers, collected edition through Image Comics. And then we got the newest Terry Moore written and drawn series that he's been coming out with, Serial. This, of course, follows, I think, Zoe, the character from Rachel Rising. So if you've read Rachel Rising or any of the other things Terry Moore has done, this definitely, ties into everything that's happens in the Terry Moore universe. Essentially now everything is connected because he's done books that link all of these characters together. And then we do know that they all exist in the same timeline. But this is, I mean, Rachel Rising is probably my favorite thing that Terry Moore has ever done. I've read everything he's done now, from Strangers in Paradise all the way up to, the 5 Years series that just concluded, that brought all these characters together. And now the Serial book has come out. I love Zoe from Rachel Rising. I loved her in that series. And, it's definitely a darker, humored book for Terry Moore as well. He always did like a lot of the, romance plus mixed with espionage, like intrigue, like a secret agent type stuff with the Strangers in Paradise. Did the superhero thing with Echo. So he's definitely played with different genres along the way. But this is my favorite type of stuff that he does. And the fact that this character now has her own series that's going on outside of Rachel Rising, I'm very much liking. So by the end of this, there was a brutal scene depicted. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like by the end of it, I was like, it was very, very sad, dark, and fucked up all at the same time. And then humorous at some points as well. So he's just playing with a lot of emotions here. Great cartooning as always. And if you're a fan of Rachel Rising or this character, or you just want a nice, darker, humored book with great black and white penciled and inked art, definitely check this out. Serial. This is the first volume of the series. I believe it collects the first 4 issues. It's 4 or 5 issues, I believe, this first volume. I think it's 5. So yeah, Serial, The Glass Tomb, the newest from Terry Moore. Then we got the long-awaited Batman the Max Arkham Dreams hardcover that has come out. This has been solicited and resolicited, I swear, like 10 times, because I think the issues just took forever to actually finally come out. Sam Keith, definitely not the fastest artist working in the business, but of course, Sam Keith, the creator of the Max, well worth it. Doesn't look like anybody out on the stands. His art style and the fact that he doesn't do too much work nowadays, but still is doing comics. It was well worth the wait. I loved this. This was a lot of fun. Again, as always, because it has to do with the Max, it is a Max storyline. It is a little bit out there at times, but and to follow the narrative, because there's a lot of dreamlike sequence type stuff going on. But because that Batman's actually in this interacting with the Mask, it was a mix of grounded and kind of surrealism that you normally would get from the Max side of things. But when Batman kind of was normally involved or showing up, they had to ground it a little bit more in reality. So I appreciated that. So it was a very conscious kind of thing that he did, having these two people interact. And but I mean, the artwork is fantastic. If you're a fan of the Max or a fan of Batman, most importantly, if you're a fan of Sam Keith, or just fantastic looking artwork, different things that doesn't look like anything on the stands today. Still, his style is very unique. Definitely check out this mini series. I think it's like a 5-issue mini series. It's collected in this standard edition hardcover from IDW Comics in DC. This is the Batman Max Arkham Dreams miniseries. So yeah, definitely check this one out if you were interested. It's finally out, everybody, if you were waiting on this collected edition. All right, and this one I picked up a little late. I picked it up in July, but I missed it when it was originally released. So I got the first volume of the re-release of the Criminal stuff from Image Comics, and this is volume 2. This is the deluxe edition of volume 2 from Image Comics. Ed Brubaker, of course, and Sean Phillips. Criminal, one of my favorite things ever in comics, or that they've done, especially. This collects Bad Night, The Sinners, and the groundbreaking Last of the Innocent, which is probably my favorite of the miniseries that he originally did through Marvel Icon. I think at that time, previous to Image, was The Last of the Innocent. I think that's the one where he does like an Archie pastiche type story where he kind of does it in the Criminal universe, but does like an Archie comic. So yeah, that's those 3 miniseries of Criminal are collected in this deluxe edition hardcover. Image is printing this now. So I wanted to have them all look the same. So I got rid of my Marvel Icon because I'm crazy, but I love these books so much that it was worth it. I got rid of all my Marvel Icon printings of Criminal and picked these Image ones up. And then we got Middle West, the complete tale, deluxe oversized hardcover collecting the whole 18-issue series of Middle West, written by Scotty Young, art by George Corona. This was fantastic. It was a little slow at the start, I will admit. After I read the first paperback of this series, although being a huge fan of Scotty Young as an artist, this was like, one of his first few forays into doing writing projects on his own with different artists at this time. And this is printed by Image Comics. He was doing I Hate Fairyland, which he was writing and drawing, I think, previous to this, and then started doing this Middle West book. George Corona, another great artist, though, that's worked with Scotty Young before. He drew this whole series with him. And, has a lot to do with adolescence and trying to get along with your parents and anger, controlling your anger, and how it kind of it will turn you into the man that you are today, and how you treat your children when you become an adult. And it's just a lot to do with the parenting side of things with children, the children side of things with parents, as well as, some fantastic kind of elements along the way that makes it feel like I don't know, I want to say Narnia-esque, but it's definitely in the fantasy realm of kids story type stuff that you made Miyazaki, things like that. If you like things like that, you'll have a lot of fun, I think, with this one. But like I said, it was a slow start, but once it got going, it was a great series. And by the end of it, by the conclusion of this Middle West, I really, really, really loved it. So I was happy to trade in the paperbacks and get this deluxe edition hardcover that collected the whole series that has come out. They get retailed for $60. So maybe try to read a couple issues and see if you like it. If you do, though, yeah, $60 retail US. It's well worth it, honestly. I really love this Middle West deluxe edition hardcover from Image Comics. All right, so these last couple of books I have never read. I picked them up because of the things that I've heard about these series. This may be my first time checking them out, though. We got the Generation X Epic Collection. This collects called Back to School. This is the first volume in the Epic Collection line for the Generation X series, an X-Men series from back in the day, I guess the 90s, that I've heard great things about. Chris Bocciolo, this is early work of his that he worked on this series. This collects Uncanny X-Men 316 318, X-Men 36 to 37, and Generation X 1 to 9, Wolverine 94, and Generation X Collector's Preview and Generation X Ashcan Edition. So this starts the series off with Generation X, and I guess they also includes the issues where they first appeared in Uncanny X-Men. And Chris Bocciolo did some of the artwork on this book, and I've heard great things about it. I heard it was a great spin-off book for the X-Men, especially during this period of the 90s where there wasn't a lot of great things going on. Scott Lobdell, not a huge fan of him as a writer, but I figured I'd give it a chance. And based on more of the Chris Bocciolo art that I've heard is great and that you see during this time period. So, yeah. So I'm very much looking at checking this out. And it is the first volume. They decided to do the first volume in the Epic line, although they don't always print them in order. Generation X, I don't think, will be a huge Epic line. So they've printed the first volume to kind of, because a lot of this material I don't think has been collected before, kind of get you to check out this series. Wow. So yeah, so I picked it up. I know a lot of people that are fans of this book, so I figured I'd give it a shot. All right. Then we got the library edition of National Anthem. This is the True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys National Anthem, written by Gerard Way and Sean Simon, art by Leonardo Romero, Jordi Belair on color. Sorry. So it's kind of got like a nice matte finish, the pages in this and the color palette. So I really appreciate that. I think it's really cool. Oversized library edition from Dark Horse, as we mentioned previously, one of their my favorite lines of style of books that they print there. So yeah, I picked this up mostly based on the art. I really like Leonardo Romero's art. I haven't seen too much by him, but what I have seen, I've been a big fan of. I did read the first Fabulous Killjoys book, and I picked up the more recent reprint of the library edition of it with Becky Cloonan on art. Again, mostly for the art. I was told that you kind of got to know some of the band's stuff to really understand and appreciate this book and this whole story about the Fabulous Killjoys and everything like that. But I'm going to give it another shot. Hopefully, with some research that I look up online, because I'm not a I don't really know. I think it's My Chemical Romance that Gerard Way is part of the band. I'm not a huge, I don't know their music all that well, so I may be a little bit out of the loop while reading this if this does connect to some storylines that have to do with that band. If not, though, hopefully I enjoy it. We'll see. Again, I picked this up mostly based on the artists that have worked, and I'm a sucker for these library editions. So, yeah. And last but not least, I picked up this that is not a new release that came out in July. This came out a couple of years back, but I had never actually owned it. So I picked up this Pencil Art of Jeff Darrow book from Dark Horse Comics. So this basically is, title says it all. This is just a bunch of pencil line artwork. Wow. Like the detail that Jeff Darrow puts into his work, I really just needed to own this because it was extra sketches by him, and his pencils are so tight that honestly, like, I'm not a huge fan of seeing artist pencils in these artist edition type books, but his is one that's well worth it. Wow, look at that. The level of detail this guy puts out in his pencils. Like, I don't even know how many pencils you'd go through to draw an illustration like this. So this is just a collection of different sketches and I guess covers and things that Jeff Darrow has done all the line work for here, all scans of all the pencil work and some explanations, I guess, from him as to what some of these are as well. So yeah, Dark Horse is the Pencil Art of Jeff Darrow, Lead Poisoning. So yeah, very much looking forward to this. Okay, well, that's going to do it for my comic book haul and reviews for the months of June and July 2021 here for you today. I hope you enjoyed that. As I mentioned previously, we did a little bit of a different format in the way that we recorded this episode as opposed to the ones we did before. So if you have checked out the old way of that we did it and the new way that we're doing it now, please let us know in the comments whether or not you prefer one way of doing it over the other. It's not too different, honestly, but I figured I'd try a different way of recording these and see how it went. So if you do have an opinion on that, you've seen our previous videos as well, please let us know in the comments there. Hit that thumbs up button if you like what you saw here today. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as well as that notification bell if you want to be notified whenever these comic book haul and review videos come out in the following months. You want to be notified of that and all the other different videos that we drop here, that we do here on the Late Night Chat Network, all kinds of different shows and interests that us and me and my fellow co-hosts have here, as well as the Late Night Chat weekly live show that they normally do on Sunday nights live. Follow us on Instagram for all the details about when those shows are posted and when they do come out and everything else in regards to the Late Night Chat Network. Once again, thank you for checking this video out, and please let me know what you thought in the comments. And the comic book haul and reviews will be back running on time, hopefully from now on. I apologize that we had to put these last 2 months here together for you guys, but the video is out there. We got it out now, and expect the comic book haul and review for the month of August 2021 to come in the probably a week or two after this one comes out. So sometime in September, and hopefully, like I said, when the month ends, we'll be bringing out the videos in the future on time again here for you guys. So I hope you like what you saw here today. And if you kind of ever want me to get into heavier into doing reviews outside of just showing them off during the haul and giving you my quick thoughts on it, I'm thinking of maybe revisiting doing more in-depth reviews of books in the future. So yeah, please let me know. And yeah, stay tuned for more. And thanks again. And we'll see you guys next time. Later, everyone.